of the Harare-Masvingo Highway. Number 2, the completion of 18.3 kilometers of the Bulawayo-Victoria Falls Road, which has since been opened to traffic, while a 30-kilometer section is at various levels of completion. Base 3 compaction is in progress for a 10-kilometer road stretch from Lubane. Remedial works and opening of detours are ongoing on the 5-kilometer stretch in the Makuti area along the Harare-Chirundu Highway. 5th project, the construction of Christmas bypass has reached 29% mark. And finally, the construction of Mavuku traffic interchange now at 23%, and the one to be established at Masasa is expected to ease traffic congestion for Harare city-bound traffic along the Harare-Mutare Highway. Other projects reported include the construction of the Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe offices in Masvingo, now at 96% completion, and the Mbokoma Traffic Training Center in Bulawayo, now at 30%. In line with the National Development Strategy 2 priority area on science, technology, innovation, digital and human capital development, the Minister of Primary and Secondary Education highlighted the following achievements under his purview: the registration of 35 learning centers out of a target of 160, the upgrading of learning infrastructure at Grace Mission in Wange, Dambudzo Primary School in Kwekwe, and at Urungwe Primary School in Murewa districts, among others. The 3rd project, the construction of 6 science laboratories to promote STEM education. And finally, the construction of affordable boarding facilities, including girls' hostels at GT High School in Shamva and Mchina High School in Cholocho, and low-cost boarding facility at Sanke in Nkai district, among others. Under the NDS 2 pillar on science, technology, digital innovation, and human capital development, the Minister of Information, Communication Technology, Postal and Courier Services, Honorable Tatenda Mavetera, presented the following achievements under her purview. 1, the connection of 43 health institutions out of a target of 25 facilities to offer telemedicine. The development of low Earth orbit satellite connecting 700 sites under the Presidential Internet Scheme. The completion and the capacitation of 80 institutions resourced with ICT gadgets and 40 free Wi-Fi hotspots. The deployment of e-learning platforms to 14 schools, establishment of 2 ICT laboratories at Igava primary and secondary schools, which were commissioned during the National Youth Day celebrations in Mashonaland East Province, among other sites. The completed upgrading of 10 by 4 gig base stations. And finally, the official launch of Zimbabwe's National Artificial Intelligence Strategy running from 2026 to 2030. The Minister of Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture, Honorable Anselim Namosanyatwe, highlighted the following key achievements under his purview in line with the job creation, youth entrepreneurship and development, creative industry, sports and culture projects. 1, completion of site clearance for establishment of the Wenza multi-purpose courts. Number 2, completion works at Shangwe Cultural Center in Gokwe, North District, Midlands Province. Completion of summary translation of the Intangible Cultural Heritage 2003 Convention into 7 local languages. Site clearance completion for the Zezuru Cultural Heritage in Murewa, Mashonaland East Province. And finally, the refurbishment of the National Gallery of Zimbabwe, which is almost complete. Cabinet received and noted the reports on the Lower Zambezi Manakulu's frontier conservation areas ministerial meeting, which was presented by the Minister of Environment, Climate and Wildlife, Honorable Evelyn Ndlovu. The meeting was held on the 10th of April 2026 at Rainbow Towers in Harare. At the signing of the LOSAMAP TFCA in May 2023, a commitment was made for the signing of a treaty within 5 years between the two heads of state, that is Zimbabwe and Zambia, and technical processes are now underway to ensure that the treaty is considered in February 2027. Government notes the recurrent climate-induced floods affecting critical infrastructure in the Lower Zambezi area, including access roads, bridges, and some operational facilities, and the TFCA is expected to ameliorate these given the lack of clarity on access to climate finances such as the Loss and Damage Fund. The establishment of the Transfrontier Conservation Area is testament to Zimbabwe's commitment to regional integration and the implementation of the Southern African Development Community SADC Protocol on Wildlife Conservation and Law Enforcement. Cabinet noted the report by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Honorable Professor Amon Murwira, on His Excellency Advocate Duma Gideon Boko, President of the Republic of Botswana's state visit to Zimbabwe from the 21st to the 23rd of April 2026. During the visit, His Excellency Dr. Emerson Mnangagwa, President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, and his counterpart co-chaired the 5th session of the Zimbabwe-Botswana Binational Commission held on 22 April 2026 in Harare. The deliberations of the BNC reflected strong convergence on the need to accelerate economic cooperation, deepen regional integration, and enhance infrastructure development as key enablers for industrialization and sustainable development. The priority areas focused on during discussions of the BNC included trade and investment, infrastructure and connectivity, free movement of people, agriculture, food security and health, energy and mining, tourism and wildlife conservation, defense and security, regional and international cooperation, mutual support for Zimbabwe's bid for a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council for the period 2027 to 2028, and institutional cooperation and implementation. The two countries signed 15 memoranda of agreement in various sectors. His Excellency President Boko officially opened the 66th edition of the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair on 23 April 2026 in Bulawayo. The state visit and the 5th session of the Binational Commission successively reinforced the strong bilateral relations between Zimbabwe and Botswana. Cabinet noted the report by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade on the occasion of the official visit by His Excellency President Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa to the Kingdom of Eswatini for the Ruby Jubilee and 58th birthday celebrations of His Majesty King Mswati III. The visit formed part of Zimbabwe's broader foreign policy thrust of strengthening bilateral relations, promoting regional integration, and advancing economic diplomacy within Southern Africa. His Excellency participated in the May National Celebration Day event held on the 24th of April 2026 at Somhlotlo National Stadium in the capital city, Mbavane. In his address, King Mswati III reflected on the kingdom's journey since 1986, highlighting the central role of unity, cultural heritage, and national stability in shaping Eswatini's development trajectory. The Ruby Jubilee celebrations were of profound national and symbolic significance, reflecting continuity, stability, and cultural preservation in the Kingdom of Eswatini. The visit accorded His Excellency the President the opportunity to exchange views with other invited leaders and provided a valuable platform to reinforce Zimbabwe's commitment to regional cooperation and unity and strengthening diplomatic visibility within the Southern African Development Community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for presenting today's cabinet highlights. We now move to the first round of 3 questions. First round of 3 questions. Yes.
Thank you, Chief Secretary. My name is Laswo Nyam from ZN. My first question goes to the Minister Masu. Looking at the figures that you highlighted, they look quite impressive. But I want to know, what are the mechanisms that you are putting in place to make sure that there is sustainability for the country in the event that we cover all those gaps in the future? And the other one is a bit ambitious and pragmatic. It's based on the issue of the prospects of Zimbabwe maybe becoming a breadbasket of Africa in some time. Because looking at some of these figures, the export volumes are quite impressive. Then my other question goes to Minister Maletera, looking at the AI strategy that they needed on the launch. How are you going to conscientize the public? And as well, are there any provisions that maybe may need to hint which are found in this strategy, the provision there? Then the last one goes to the issue of wildlife policy. I want to know if there are any provisions or any review towards the penalties maybe to the offenders. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chief Sec. My name is Panashe from Sources Media. My first question is direct towards the new wildlife policy. When is the new wildlife policy expected to come into effect, and will there be a dedicated public oversight body to ensure that ordinary Zimbabweans remain the primary beneficiaries of the country's wildlife resources? And the second one is going to Honorable Manager. Following the President's launch of National AI Strategy, ECONET launched ECONET AI. In practical terms, how will ordinary Zimbabweans benefit from what appears to be a convergence between government policy and private sector initiatives? And then the third one, implementing a national AI strategy demands significant investment in high-performance computing infrastructure and sustained financing. Where will the government source the funds and required to make this strategy a reality? Thank you.
Thank you very much. You get more than from 2 people. Honorable Minister, maybe over to you for this question.
Thank you, Chief Secretary. The first question from Latro Nyang, who is directed to the Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Chair, and I thank the questioner for the 2 questions. The first aspect is complementary in terms of a sustained increase in production and productivity, and government has a very robust plans to ensure that this continues on this trajectory, mindful of climate change, which is why at the household level we want to ensure that every household does the sustainable intensive conservation agriculture model that increases yields 2.5 times for maize and sorghum up to 3 times. So not only will they assure themselves of household food security, but they'll also be able to generate substantial surpluses that will then go into the GMB, and which now links with the second aspect. But at a national level, we are accelerating dam construction. We are also accelerating irrigation development, and we're inviting the private sector to partner government in increasing irrigation development to the planned targeted 496,000 hectares by 2030. Currently, we're at 237,000 hectares, so we need to develop at the best of 50,000 hectares annually in order to meet that target. Then leading from that production, certainly we'll be able to generate very substantial surpluses to assure this nation of food security. But Zimbabwe does not wish to become a breadbasket ever again. From a policy perspective, Zimbabwe wants to be an agro-industrial hub for the region because of good geography, being in the center of the Southern Africa SADC region, good soils, good climate, and also the intellectual capacity that we have a good human resource base. So Zimbabwe is priming itself not to become a seller of raw materials, but a seller of value-added and beneficiated agricultural commodities. And we can already see aspects of that in the manufacturing sector, in that if you look at the disaggregation of the manufacturing sector, you will see that the agriculture and food-based sectors are growing and growing remarkably. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. The second question is directed to the Minister of ICT, Honorable Maletera from Nyangu.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Allow me to thank Mr. Nyangu for that question, which is very, very critical. He asked on what we're going to do as government in terms of publicizing the national AI strategy. As a follow-up to what as a follow-up to when we launched the AI strategy on the 13th of March, we really want to thank our President, His Excellency Dr. Mnangagwa, for launching that transformative blueprint. After we launched the AI strategy, we started doing breakfast meetings, and because when we were coming up with the AI strategy as well, we realized that there was a need for that publicity. But besides that, we also realized that there was a need for us to involve various stakeholders. And these stakeholders are going to assist us in publicizing the AI strategy and also making sure that there is full implementation of the strategy. Within our 100-day plan in our AI strategy, we are supposed to set up an AI implementation office, which is going to reside from the Ministry of ICT. There we are going to be having private sector and public sector collaborating to really work on the implementation of this AI strategy. So definitely, yes, we're going to do a lot of awareness. We're already doing it. We have done breakfast meetings. We have also done a communication plan for us to really publicize the AI strategy. But what is more critical is for the implementation, which we believe is a collaboration that we need to work on. And the second part of your question that you then asked, you said yes, the issue of you asked the issue of the awareness. The second issue, Lateral, what was it?
The second issue was based on are there any provisions? Maybe.
Okay, yeah. And then you mentioned about the provisions which are in the AI strategy, which are worth noting. We have got various programs that are going to be launching. The first one, which is going to be launched within this next month, according to the plan that we have in our AI strategy, is launching an AI Grant Challenge. And the AI Grant Challenge is going to allow us to have various startups coming in and come with applications and developments around the AI strategy. So this is one initiative that we have. But our AI strategy is premised on 6 pillars. The first one is AI infrastructure, where we need to really advance our digital infrastructure, working at even our GPU capacity, and also how we can be able to access these, our computer facilities. Definitely we need to work on that. And secondly, on the skills, The issue of skills, we've got a lot of programs that we're doing. I will talk of even the 1.5 million coding program. I'll even speak of the digital ambassadors programs, initiative that we've already done to make sure that we train our citizens in terms of AI skills. So this is another initiative that we're doing around the various pillars that we have. We also have got what we're calling AI collaboration and diplomacy. That pillar is going to strengthen our capacity as a country by having collaborations, working together with other countries that have already done quite a lot in terms of AI development. I'm sure you saw us as government even indulge countries like China, Russia, to just mention a few. We need also to look at what we call AI first countries that have already gone forward. Let's be able to learn from them and make sure that we come up with our own ethical guidance that we have put in our readiness assessment methodology report to make sure that the AI we are going to develop is locally made and is also got our own characteristics which are prone to Zimbabwe. We are also going to mention that within the AI strategy, we've got a pillar on governance, and that definitely is going to also allow us to make sure that we are not only going to be consumers, but also producers of AI. So within the AI strategy or the various pillars, of course, I've mentioned about 4, to just mention a few. We have got quite a robust framework which is going to allow us to fully implement this program and make sure that we don't leave anyone in any place behind. We are very optimistic that Zimbabwe has got a high intellectual capacity of people, and those people are going to be able to assist us because the people are the talent that are going to assist us in fully implementing the AI strategy. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. We move on to questions from Panashe. The first one directed to the Minister of Environment, Honorable Ndlovu.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Could the question here, given the question I gave, unfortunately I did not hear the question.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. I was asking, are we going to have a public body oversighting our wildlife so that Zimbabweans will remain key beneficiaries of our wildlife?
Thank you very much for the question. In our policy, we highlight the importance of participation of the local communities in looking after the wildlife that they live next to. We also look at their participation in terms of conserving the wildlife. We have programs that also safeguard the lives of our people to make sure that they benefit under the campfire by monitoring the local authorities and the hunters that harvest our wildlife from the villages in the various sectors within our communities. We put in place strategies, and we are going to actually sit down with the Minister of Local Government to make sure that we draft a new guidelines for the benefits of our own people, so that we come up with the new proposals for the sharing of funds that are coming out of those wildlife programs. We are working closely again with ZIPACs in terms of monitoring, even in rural areas. I know they monitor our wildlife in our parks, but the benefits that go to our rural communities have to be safeguarded by ZIPACs to make sure that they work closely with us and assure us that those hunters that are appointed by local authorities are authentic and they share the proceeds according to the value of the animals that they would have eat. When it comes to plantations, we have got plants or trees that can benefit our people in terms of medicinal benefits our people. So the medicinal side, we are looking at working with universities to make sure that the universities do research together with us and come up with medicinal tablets that can assist our people so that they harvest benefits from the trees and plants that exist within their areas. We have also developed a program that is going to be funded under the climate change facility. The program is to make sure that we introduce honey production within the corridors where our people are, so that we prevent wildlife, human-wildlife conflict. Because most people, I'm sure you're aware that elephants don't like bees at all. Similarly, we are also coming up with a program where we are going to work with our villagers along the corridors to make sure that they grow piri-piri and harvest it and process it. Piri-piri again is a spice that elephants don't want to smell. So we are going into those projects along the corridors to protect our people and also protect wildlife, I think.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Then the final two questions from Panashe are directed to the Minister of ICT, Honorable Maletia.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, for the opportunity. Allow me to also thank Panashe for those two questions, and thank you, Honorable Chair, for combining the two, for they are somehow related. Yes, the same issue on the AI strategy, which was recently launched by our President, His Excellency, Dr. Mnangagwa. Yes, the first question related to our partnership with private sector. I'm sure you're all aware that His Excellency, our President, has been very clear that we need to also foster private-public partnerships. And as government, we are supposed to also look at private-led development. We are so grateful because of the various companies that are also coming on board to launch initiatives as a follow-up to our launch of the AI strategy. You mentioned the issue of one company, which is Econet, which launched Econet AI, and the facilities that they offered within our partnership, which are quite essential to us. Definitely, there is never a time we can speak about AI adoption without having GPU facilities. For the GPU facilities are going to accelerate our digitalization, and this is going to also assist us in the adoption of artificial intelligence. GPUs are quite a strategic national necessity, which also is a force multiplier to us adopting AI. And this also means that we are now turning the ambition to reality. So this partnership that we have is in line with our policy and our national AI strategy, where we are speaking into international cooperation, collaboration, and diplomacy. Collaboration is key. And this then I'll also answer then the other part where you're saying how is then government going to finance this? Definitely the fiscus can finance a bit of the implementation of the AI strategy. But we believe that whenever government launches any initiative, private sector is also then supposed to embrace and come in. So we believe that there is need for us to work together with private players, also doing their part, and us as government also are working on that. We have got a pillar within the AI strategy which speaks into AI adoption and service transformation. And that pillar speaks into the collaboration that we had. We need to be having use cases in the ICT sector, embedding artificial intelligence. And this is how we are seeing us as government being able to really work together with private players to have use cases, to see how we can embed AI in various sectors of the economy, be it agriculture, be it healthcare, tourism, or whatever you can really mention of. We want also at the same time to be able to foster digital sovereignty, where we'll be able to also have solutions coming in from our own capacity that we have. The provision of the compute facilities and the GPUs are also going to also assist us in leapfrogging our reliance and also making sure that we don't just based on other distant cloud providers, but we have our own locals also offering these cloud services, which also reside from within. This is also going to assist us on our digital sovereignty pillar. And again, I think it's important that we also reduce forex outflows. Let's work on ways that we can for us to also build our digital sovereignty from our own local context from Zimbabwe. His Excellency, our President, is often saying that so whatever our locals can do, let's be able to work on that. And we are happy that now we've got various institutions, especially our universities, which are also offering national language models. So this is going to assist us to make sure that our AI is within our local context, and also is going to see us be able to reach out to everyone by having various languages also being put in play. And lastly, whatever capacity that we are putting in place is going to empower our young people. We need to work towards making sure that our young people are hands-on. They also can compete globally. They also have got an experience for them to adopt and also be able to even compete with what others are also doing. So whatever facilities which are offered by the private sector, we are ready to embrace them. And we are also happy that the private sector is also adopting our national AI strategy. This is the way to go, and like is guided by our President, His Excellency Dr. Mnangagwa, that we need to be able to embrace. We need to also make sure that we collaborate so that we'll be able to fully implement our AI strategy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's move to the last round. 3. You can see 4 people. Yes.
Thank you, Chief Sec. Wallace Rushidzo from the Euro newspaper. My question is directed at Minister Muria. Minister, Zimbabwe has continued to garner support for its UNSC non-permanent seat with Botswana being the latest, so to speak, to enter into an agreement with Zimbabwe. Firstly, is this testament to Zimbabwe's diplomatic offensive under the guise of engagement and re-engagement bearing fruit? And secondly, how confident are we of securing the seat? Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Chief Secretary. My name is Oliver Kazunga from the Herald. My question is directed to the Minister, Dr. Masuka. I just wanted to find out what plans or measures is the government, together with the ZESA, put in place to ensure that there is uninterrupted power supply during this winter season. Thank you.
Yes.
Good afternoon, Chief Secretary. Thank you so much. My name is Theophilus Chuma from ZBC, and my question is directed to Dr. Masuga. Minister, the capital city of Harare currently sits with anxiety for a steady supply of water supplies, given the current situation that is suffocating the Nigeria. And I think the development of the Kogi Dam is one of the important aspects of circumventing some of the pressures that the capital city is facing. At 71%, when can the capital city expect the completion of this dam and water to begin trickling into the capital city to relieve the pressure? And also, if you could just give us an update in terms of the status of the 48-kilometer water pipeline that is being developed on that front. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Chief. Mine is also directed to Honorable Masuka. The cyber city is located just outside the capital city, and you are aware it was a commercial farm, or there are several commercial farms there. I have heard about some monetary value of up to 75 million to cater for the relocation or compensation of the affected people. Is this going to be the same with those who want to continue farming? Are they going to be paid by, are they going to have other farms compensation, or they will have monetary compensation so that they continue with agricultural activities? Thank you.
Our last question, yes.
Good afternoon, Chief Secretary. My name is Rachel Mandela from the Daily News. My question is directed to the Minister of Transport. Just an update on the progress of the Harare Bike Bridge road rehabilitation project, particularly the current status of the remaining sections and the expected timelines. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Over to you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much. The first question from Wallace Rusito is directed to the Minister of Minister Mugwira. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Wallace. Indeed, Zimbabwe has been on a diplomatic move since the beginning of the Second Republic. You would remember that on the 24th of November 2017, His Excellency's main thrust, His Excellency Dr. Mnangagwa's main thrust is to integrate Zimbabwe into the world economy, and by a broader policy called engagement and re-engagement. This whole issue is based on the constitutional foundations of Zimbabwe's foreign policy, which is basically anchored on the main national objective, that is to maintain and cultivate a just, independent, and confident society, which society is prosperous and with people that have happy and fulfilling lives. That being the broader objective, it means we have to re-engage and engage the international community. The Section 12, as you know, of the Constitution says that we must pursue our national interests in peace with our national interests, which is our national security interests, our national economic interests, our national cohesion interests, in a peaceful way within the international environment. And that we must live well with others, which basically means international peaceful coexistence and solution of disputes by international means, by peaceful means, and so forth. All this is showing the tenets of Zimbabwe's foreign policy in approaching the international community to make sure that we are participating as the Section 4 subsection 2 of the Constitution, which makes us belong to organizations such as the United Nations that stand for peace. So with this foundation, you can see that Zimbabwe's diplomacy is geared towards working well with others and contributing, being a confident, stable partner within the international community. So yes, we have continued to pursue this kind of diplomacy, and we have been able to garner a lot of support. First of all, the first move was to be endorsed by SADC and then to be endorsed by the African Union. So we are the sole African Union candidate at the United Nations as we go for elections on the 3rd of June 2026. So far, in terms of formal endorsements, we have had as result the formal endorsement from the African Union, the endorsement from the Pacific region, the endorsement from Central Asia, the endorsement from the Caribbean, the endorsement from the Latin American countries. We are in the process of going to the Eastern European countries and to the Western European countries, which we have already got a lot of endorsements in writing, but there are some countries that we still have to visit to actually pay some respects, respectful engagements in those countries so that we get more support. we are very confident. You say, how confident are you? I will tell you that we are very confident because the foreign policy of His Excellency the President, Dr. Mnangagwa, is based on the doctrine of friend to all and enemy to none. We are not in the business of manufacturing enemies. We're in the business of making friends as part of our national image enhancement strategy. We are also open for business. That's why it's not by coincidence that you find out that Zimbabwe was voted the best tourism destination of 2025. It's not by coincidence, by diplomatic effort across government, imaging the country in its correct image. So this gives us a lot of confidence. And we went to, to ITB in Berlin this year. We were able to be voted again the best tourist destination for 2026. So you see that the image of Zimbabwe and the way we are conducting our foreign policy is in line with the expectations of the UN Charter, which is looking forward to peace, which is folding guns so that the barrels don't look in front, but they don't point anyway, they point to the ground, which is basically peace. So this gives us a lot of confidence, and we are basically very confident that we are going to get this. The issue now which we are doing is the numbers. So we are maximizing on the numbers, but our mathematics is looking very good. Our math is looking very good, and we're looking forward to being there in New York on the 3rd of June 2026, and Zimbabwe will contribute to a better world for all. We will do our part as a responsible member of the United Nations and the international community to foster peace and progress in the world, and being part of the decision-making body, top decision-making body of the United Nations. So yes, very confident, and we are sure, and extremely sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. This question is directed to Honorable Masuka from Oliver Kazunga.
Thank you, Chair. I think the next three questions that are actually directed. The one is on lands and rural development, but in the absence of the Minister, that was some attempt to provide an answer. The first relates to availability of adequate power for the winter season. When we plan for the winter season at 125,000 hectares to produce 662,000 metric tons, we co-plan with the Ministry of Energy and Power Development, and we have an agriculture energy working group. And we last year we wanted 120 megawatts, which was made available. This year 155 megawatts that we're looking at, and we formed production clusters, and there is ring fencing of that power. And we heard today that in fact the country is generating between 1,700 and 1,820 megawatts, which is quite a lot, an increase from last year. You will have noted that Lake Kariba is almost more than double what it was last year, at almost 36-37%, and still very, very thick flows at Victoria Falls. So the expectation is that there will be sufficient power, and that's the promise that we have from the relevant ministry. It is power as one of the 21 enablers that we watch on a daily basis, and we are in constant conversation with the relevant ministry. The second aspect relates to a question on the desperation within the Harare metropolitan area in terms of adequate water supply, and when Kunzi will be able to come on board to provide that additional relief. Harare requires about 1,200 megaliters a day. Currently, they are generating about 328 megaliters a day from Moton Jeffrey and Prince Edward. And at full capacity, this should be able to generate somewhere in the region of 560 megaliters if repaired, although the established capacity is 720 megaliters. So you can already see that in the areas that Harare is able to converge to, it is unable to supply sufficient water. But there are so many other areas within the greater metropolitan city that do not have even any conveyancing. So the challenge that we face in Harare is that there are areas that have conveyancing but are not receiving sufficient water because non-revenue water is lost. Minister Garwe will have told you that he is in a triple P with Elcro and others to try and put these prepaid water meters to try and push water as much as possible. But Kunji will assist only the eastern part of Harare because we are putting a treatment works somewhere near Chikurubi, and the relief offered there will be to the eastern suburbs, but also to the new city. The plan is that that 48-kilometer pipeline will probably be operational maybe by next year, financing, if we have the financing coming as promised. But the first thing, of course, is to be able to complete the dam as we've done last year. So we've started to impound water. There is a promise that ordinarily within 3 seasons, you should be able to impound sufficient water while you construct the conveyancing systems and then the treatment works. But the greater picture for Harare is that you need to also complete the Chekaranwa route in order to relieve Marondera and be able to supply the Seke Harava from Chekaranwa through a pipeline so that you are able to treat daily about 70-75 megaliters to be able to supply the southern part, which is Tumbisa. So it's actually part of that broader plan. Kunja alone will offer some relief, but not complete relief. The complete relief in future will come from Sami Dam, which is much bigger than Kunji. And once that's constructed, it will be able to provide additional water that we want. But let me pause and say, this is no license to pollute as we are polluting in Chiwere and in Dawendel. We need to ensure that our water sources are managed properly. Government has also stepped in to do boreholes, and we've drilled more than 350 boreholes as interim relief in those areas where water is needed. Now to a question that I would now not ordinarily answer because that's Minister of Lands and Rural Development, Honorable Artatos, but in his absence, and perhaps with the concurrence of the chair, I could attempt to answer that. So the compensation committee, which is within the Ministry of Lands and chaired by the Permanent Secretary, offers 3 options for any affected landholder. The first is that you value the improvements that they've done on the plot as you convert that land from agricultural to urban, and they are compensated and then they move off. That's the first option that they can have. The second option is that they may opt to continue farming. If they wish to continue farming, then you look for alternative land that perhaps could be similar in agroecological characteristics. Then the third option is that in terms of the master plan, you can look at how you can integrate them within that broader master plan so that they don't live but become part of the city and they are no longer part agricultural. So those are the 3 options that ordinarily are available for those that are affected when we declare land taken by the state for public purposes. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. The last question is directed to Honorable Mona, but I didn't quite get the name of the question. Sorry, you can proceed, Honorable Minister.
Thank you so much, Comrade Chairman. I got the name, it's Brother Brighton. Thank you so much for the question that you posed pertaining the status quo of the Harare Bay Bridge Road, which I'm delighted to say yesterday we managed to commission one of our new bridges with a service life of 100 years. And I'm delighted that even the technology that we use on that particular bridge is unique, and even the contraction and expansion mechanism there, even if you drive on it, you won't realize that you are passing through a bridge. And I want to say we've covered 547 kilometers of that road, which is a 582 kilometer stretch, and the remaining 35 kilometers, we are in different stages of road construction. And key features that I'll highlight that are still missing. Yes, we've got road over rail, which is a booby, and also road over rail at Fairfields, which has been problematic even to motorists, but we've attended to that section as I speak. And we also have missing interchanges, one at Rothmans, which we are currently working on right now in terms of doing our research. In the second one on ZBC Mbari, in last, which is an existing flyover, it's Simon Masorodze. And these key features will complete by next year. But in terms of the road stretch, we are going to be completing this entire road by August this year. Then we'll start navigating towards the north, because you know it's a north-south corridor. So we'll be moving to the north. That is Harare Chirundu Road. So you expect us to be fully mobilized by September, going to Chirundu. And also this Thursday, we'll be opening another key bridge, which is going to decongest Masvingo, which is Mucheke River Bridge. So I invite the media team, those who are free. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, honorable ministers. We have come to the end of today's post-cabinet press briefing. Meet next week.
Thank you.